We've been talking this morning about your statement at the conference that the ocean is not in the pollution and the pollution is not in the ocean.
Yes.
And what we have seemed to see here was that it suggests that the purity of spiritual being is not touched by the presence of any garbage.
Right.
And we would, first of all, like to know if you have any further comments to make about that, since we really haven't heard much about it.
Well, we could have, first of all, what do we mean by pollution?
Conference control has been transferred
That's
to
pollution.
7-1-0-9-7-0-9-0-7-3.
All right, all right.
There we go.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right, so the pollution seems to intrude on the ocean.
Yeah.
Let's ask the question, what does the pollution consist of
Yeah.
in terms of consciousness? What pollutes consciousness, seemingly? Is there anyone who can answer this question?
Someone just said invalid thought.
Invalid thought.
Yeah.
Is there any particular invalid thought that is the main pollutant of consciousness?
That the several answers were that we exist apart from God.
Yes, which is essentially a self-confirmatory idea,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The main pollutant of consciousness is always self-confirmatory thinking.
Yeah.
It comes in a million varieties, but always pollutes consciousness. Now, if we confirm something that doesn't really exist, right?
Yeah.
It's an illusion. Now, how can it be part of that which is real? You see?
Yeah.
So, it is entirely separate, even though it seems to pollute the consciousness and bring about life experiences which say that the life is hell, it stinks. And we have so many problems in life, particularly with each other. But that living together is very difficult, whether in marriage or in society or in friendship. Always the person is the temptation for self-confirmatory ideation. But now, of course, what happens is that we lose sight the fact that this is actually nothing. But we can get very much involved with this nothingness to such an extent that we think that there is no ocean anymore, there's only garbage, only pollution. So this Quran is very helpful in reminding us that the pollution is entirely separate from the pure ocean of love intelligence. Now, if we learn this lesson and really understand it, and remain mindful of it under all circumstances, then we will be spared of a great deal of suffering, which we call interaction processing. As you all know, we have come to understand that our thought can originate either in the sea of mental garbage or in the ocean of love intelligence. Now, this Quran could be rephrased as saying the geomental garbage. It is below the firmament. The ocean of loving intelligence is above the firmament, and the firmament is the dividing line between them. And by studying metapsychiatry, we are helped to recognize this dividing line, and then we can choose to pay attention to life above the firmament, which is pure spiritual consciousness, where all things work together for good, and there is no illness and no suffering, and there are no conflicts, and the four horsemen are unknown. Do we all know who the four horsemen are?
We have one no and several yeses.
Okay.
That seems to point to then, Dr. Hora, that seems to point to the fact that the healing is always the realization of the nothingness rather than somehow trying to mess around with the particular mistake. Is that right?
Yes, we don't have to clean up the pollution. We just have to understand that there are no parts of the ocean.
Yeah.
And reality is the ocean. The pollution is ignorance. And the human inclination toward self-confirmatory ideation under all circumstances, endless variety of circumstances, always the self-confirmatory tendency throws a monkey wrench into our affairs.
Reinhardt has a question.
Okay, is that Christy Reinhardt?
No, it's Reinhardt Arnold.
Arnold, all right.
I didn't know I had one, but I was entertaining one in my head just as she said, do you have a question? And if I can remember it, I'll ask it. There still seems, in your words, I was just noticing how you said something about self-confirmatory ideation is a pollution in our thinking or in our mind. And now, what is the difference between the self-confirmatory thinking and our mind? How does our mind fit in?
Well, the word our mind has been used, but we were speaking of its consciousness.
Yeah, I'm addressing like the personal sense in all this versus
Right. Right. The idea of our mind already is a self-confirmatory idea.
yeah, right. I seem to hear you say that there was a difference between our mind and the self-confirmatory stuff, and it seemed like they were all
That's it.
bunch of junk.
Yeah, right.
But then what is the implication I was playing with was also not only our mind but our life. Is there such a thing as our life?
Oh yeah,
Or
our life is life in God. That's our life. God is our life. And in Him we live and move and have our being. And God is our mind. It means the divine mind is the source of intelligent idea. And if we are not messing around with the pollution, then we are clear thinkers. We have clear, intelligent thoughts obtaining in consciousness by the grace of God continuously.
Well, that's very nice, but that is the problem, I guess, that I'm wrestling with, and perhaps everybody in the room here is wrestling with.
I presume you came to this conference to learn how to wrestle with it more effectively.
I don't know.
No?
Well, I know we're supposed to understand that you don't wrestle with that stuff. You just ignore it or don't become part of the pollution by messing around with it.
That's good, yeah. You transcend it.
Dr. Hora, wouldn't you agree that transcending is a better word than ignoring? Ignoring.
Definitely, of course. What you ignore doesn't ignore you, it gores you.
Yeah, yes. Are you done, honey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hi, do you have a question?
Dr. Hora would say,
Patty,
yes,
which Patty is that?
my last name is Hanson.
Okay, Patty.
This statement that pollution is not in the ocean, has come to me at times, well actually the statement that comes is that in the midst of an experience, that this experience cannot and does not touch the truth of my identity. And that has not been helpful to me. Could you help me with what is needed to make the statement helpful for me?
Well, but it helps to understand our true identity. You see, when we are confirming ourselves, then we are confirming a false sense of identity. Because we see ourselves as autonomous, separate individuals apart from God. This is the essence of all confirmatory ideation. I exist apart from my creator. I am my own creator. So then we have a false sense of identity. In order to understand our true identity, we have to learn to see ourselves in the context of God. And then we are not apart from God, but we are a part of God. An aspect of infinite love intelligence, the divine consciousness.
Patty, did you have further questions about that?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Were there any follow-up questions there?
No, thank you, Joan.
All right.
Patty, did you understand it, or you just giving up?
I think the rule would be, what's needed there is to really recognize my identity.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Sure.
I just,
So you have to get a new passport. And the details.
yes, I hear it now. Thank you.
Okay.
Sure, we can send on. Stuart had a question earlier that I asked him to say for you.
Yeah, when we were discussing the sea of mental garbage and the ocean of love intelligence, I have some difficulty with two questions. I had some difficulty with the duality of it. One is good and one is bad, kind of what appears to be a dual nature of reality, which I don't believe it's so. And also, I wondered about the phenomenal world. Is the phenomenal world a reflection? And if it's a reflection, one can reflect reality, or one could reflect non-reality or ignorance. Could you comment on those?
At first, that started your idea of the duality. It's not a duality because the sea of mental garbage is an illusion.
Okay.
And this illusion comes to us in the form of experiences. You see, we have difficulty realizing that our experiences are fantasies expressed organismically, but they do not constitute our reality. Just because we experience something, it doesn't mean that it really exists. Somewhere in my writings I describe that the hypnotist can suggest to us any type of experience and we will experience it. It doesn't mean that it really is so, right?
Yes.
You may have read it.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, so it's not a duality. It just feels that way. And then we say in our the ninth principle of metapsychiatry, we say reality cannot be experienced nor imagined. It can, however, be realized. Are you familiar with this principle?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is as far as duality is concerned. It's not duality. There is only one reality, there are no two realities. But there is the experiential aspect of the human condition, and then there is reality, which is entirely apart from the experiential.
So the sea of mental garbage, maybe I took the metaphor too seriously. It's really nothing.
That's right. It's something that seems to be, but isn't.
Yeah.
Now what was your other question?
Well, my other question would be, it relates, I guess, it's my seeking further clarification. I'm going to change it a bit. In thinking of your principle number 7, nothing comes into experience uninvited.
Yeah.
This would relate directly to this understanding that you're giving us. Because experience is illusion anyway.
Yes.
Yet experience, we seem to be so fascinated or compelled
Yes.
by our experience.
Right.
Do you have a way of transcending that fascination or interaction with what appears to be our experience?
That's right. Yeah, it's a very important part of our study. And we have to grow beyond it. Not to be impressed by experiences and understand that they are just organismically perceived thoughts. If you have a headache, it's not a headache, it's an angry thought. And the pain is just expressing that thought in an organismic channel. So if you understand that you won't get scared of your headache, but you will examine the underlying thought, or we speak of the mental equivalent of a phenomenon. And when you have understood and seen that thought, you can turn away from it, and your headache is healed.
That's understandable to me, and I don't seem to have much difficulty with that. What seems to prevent, or what I seem to have more difficulty understanding clearly, are events that seem to occur in life, not bodily reflection, but let's say interactive events in the world of business, or things that appear to be apart from oneself, outside of the boundary of the skin, let's say.
Yes,
But this principle would hold true for those events also, wouldn't it?
absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any follow-up questions for that in Ojai?
No follow-up question for you, John.
All right.
Let's change your high into no high.
Oh.
That was very clever. Quick, too.
Dr. Hora, I had a question. I was talking earlier about a time when I spoke to my son. He was only 16, and he had a problem with a girlfriend. And I was trying to relate to him or talk to him about some higher concern, and I stopped and I looked in his eyes, and there was just a blankness. He didn't understand what I was talking about.
Yes.
And I since then have thought of that each time either I or someone else seems to be in the position of just not seeing something higher.
Yes.
So I would like to maybe ask you to clarify the process of expanding consciousness or beginning to understand, or it doesn't seem, I know we all have the idea that we'd like to do it and do it faster, but it doesn't seem as if it's something that can be done, and yet we talk all the time about being interested. Could you maybe clarify? Patty asked earlier, she said, is it a process of recognizing our true identity? And I'd like to understand more what that process is or what it entails for us.
In other words, you would like to help your son to become more receptive of spiritual ideas. Is that it?
No, I was really, that would be nice. But I was really trying to see for all of us how that comes about, because it was so clear that he couldn't see what he couldn't see. And how can he be interested in what he can't see?
Yes.
And I could talk all day long about his true identity, but he just couldn't see it. He was thinking of himself as a person with a girlfriend and a problem.
Of course. What else is there?
Yeah. So I was hoping maybe for some clarification on the actual what the process is that allows us to see who we really are.
Well, your son is a natural man.
Yeah.
What does the Bible say about natural man?
Oh, that the things of the Spirit are foolishness to them.
Right.
In other words, they don't understand.
Right, of course. And they will have difficult forcing themselves to be interactive in it.
Yeah.
Yes, because they are prisoners of the ego and of the sensual life.
Yeah.
It takes a great deal of suffering until we become tenderized enough to begin to be receptive to the idea that perhaps besides ourselves, there is also God.
And that is the process.
There is a process, and you cannot push it. But of course, you could set an example.
Yeah.
Now, a very good approach to help people to become more interested in the truths of spiritual life is by helping them to understand that their experiences are not random events, but they have something to do with the quality of their thought. And this mystifies people a great deal, but this is really an opening wedge where attention then is being attracted to the importance of entertaining valid thought in life in order to have a more harmonious experience. And so that is the only helpful approach, to repeatedly help them to see that whatever they are experiencing are not random chance events, but they have something to do with what thought they are inclined to entertain. And it is not difficult. You can help them because when they complain, when they get sick, when they have accidents, when they get traffic tickets, even by walking in the street,
That's like that. Yes.
all these things have a meaning and they indicate certain qualities of thought consciousness. And that is the avenue which that the psychiatry can use to help people to become interested in spiritual values and spiritual ideas.
Yeah, that's very clear. It must take, or it does take, a great deal of patience, I can see.
Yes, absolutely, especially with a teenager.
Yeah. And I should think then that the pointing out of the connection, say, so that someone comes to see the direct connection between getting sick and drinking 6 martinis, say, has to be done with some compassion rather than a sense of judgment. See, you got what you deserved, or...
Well, nobody gets sick from drinking martini.
Oh, that's just my favorite example. We'll go back to my son. Yes.
The drinking of the martini is already a sickness.
Yes, yes, of course. I see that. Yeah, it's Stuart. Stuart has another question, Dr. Hora.
Is he drinking martini?
No, I don't think so.
Not at the moment.
He looks over to me. Yeah.
I have a question about what if this is puzzling to me. Maybe you can shed some light on it. What about the circumstances within which a person seems to be born? I think the existential psychologists call it thrownness. Maybe that's what Ben Slinger called it. The idea that someone is born into certain circumstances. I know the Eastern religions refer to that or explain it with reincarnation. And maybe I'm just not, maybe I'm too fascinated by the circumstances and it really doesn't have any meaning. But how would that relate to one's quality of consciousness?
The Eastern religion talk about it as karma. And they believe that you are born into certain circumstances in accordance with your previous life, whether you were a good guy or a bad guy. Or if you were a foxy guy, then you may be reborn as a fox. Or a rat. Or something. That is called the migration of the soul. But that is just a fancy kind of explanation of something that is very little documented and understood. Now, it's true that some people seem to be born into better circumstances than others and seem to have many advantages in life. Nevertheless, these circumstances are mostly material circumstances, and economic and intellectual, educational, and essentially human. Now, the question is, what is better, to be born into affluent circumstances with caring, loving parents who are wealthy and provide all the material comfort to an individual, or someone who is born into poverty and lovelessness and neglect? Who is closer to the kingdom of heaven? Which one will make it faster into the kingdom of heaven? That will remind you of what Jesus said, that it is easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Comfort can be a distraction. Or material comfort can be a distraction.
How did he do?
So let's put it this way. The one who is born into more unpleasant circumstances will become a seeker, a seeker. And it is described that one day he climbed over the wall of their estate and went into the street, and he was shocked at what he saw. He saw a dead man lying in the gutter. He saw a sick man in the street. He saw starvation and suffering. And he was amazed that such things exist. And this had shocked him out of his complacency and comfort. And then and there he began his search for the truth. So he left his affluent home and became what is called in India a sannyasi, which is these are people who had found total poverty and starvation and go into the forest and live there in meditation and prayer and searching to find the answers to the mysteries of life.
I'd like to follow up a little bit also with what you were speaking with Joan. She was talking about her son and progress as far as that's concerned, or his being interested. And what is our evidence that we are interested? Because there are times when I just will say, well, I must not be interested in the truth or in what really is. Yet I'm still sitting with the war, the spice against the spirit. So that seems to be a follow-up thought, but you're still sitting here endeavoring to see something. And I get quite confused. I don't know whether I'm interested or not at that moment.
That's right. It's a very good question, Pat.
Great.
Yes, Jay. I don't know whether you're aware of the fact that as a psychiatry we have researched this question and found that there are 6 types of students of metapsychiatry. Did you know that?
Yes.
Can you enumerate them?
I don't know that I can, but I know some of them. The hitchhiker, the dreamer, the knower,
The thinker.
the zinger,
Thinker.
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 Yes, I couldn't think of that one.
And the sincere thinker.
Oh, I couldn't think of that one either.
So out of 6, there is only one that's really benefiting from attending the lectures and sessions. Out of 6, there is only one. You know, Jesus once healed 10 lepers. And out of the 10, only one came back to thank him.
Yes.
And it is a taxonomic research project.
Is that right?
Right. So we have discovered that out of every 6 students of metapsychiatry, there's only one that is really benefiting because he's a sincere seeker. Of course, all of the others can become sincere seekers once they wake up. And most of the time, it takes them lots of time for them to wake up, to see. So they're just kidding themselves. that they have to first become sincere seekers, and then they will benefit from their study.
Oh. Well. Thank you, Dr. Hora.
You're welcome, Jay.
Dr. Hora, this is Anna.
Yes, Emma.
I have a couple of follow-up questions. First one for just to clarify a point that Jay just brought up. At that point in time that we think that we're stuck and not interested, the real issue is that we are not sincere and really not interested, and we're trying to blame ourselves and confirm ourselves by staying in the problem. Is that what you're saying?
No, but you can study metapsychiatry with the wrong motivation. Or you can be a student with the wrong motivation.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if you just like the company of metapsychiatric students and become a hitchhiker because you enjoy being with the other students, you belong, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And some people, the knower is studying in order to show off with what he already knows. The third is just like to think about these interesting concepts. The thief likes to make notes and collect them, collect the things, collect the literature and file it away and look at it and accumulate things. And then the dreamer, of course, he just dreams that he's a student of metapsychiatry. He's really sleeping. So he's not, these individuals have to wake up and become sincere students. And then they will make rapid strides. One of our students came to study about 3 years ago. He made such rapid strides. Today, he's already a very effective teacher of metapsychiatry. In a short time, he was able to understand so much because he was a sincere student.
I'd like to ask another question about a statement that Joan made. She mentioned that there are times when it seems she can see the thought behind headache or behind getting a headache or a physical manifestation, and it's healed.
Yeah.
And yet headache will seem to keep recurring, so the same problem seems to be reissuing, or coming to consciousness and being rehealed. My question is that what is the process that is going on here? Is that there's a moment-to-moment healing each time, or is there an underlying viewpoint that has not been healed?
You're absolutely right. There is an underlying viewpoint which has not been healed. Namely, the individual you're speaking about is more interested in the healing than in enlightenment. So he keeps getting healed, but he doesn't make any progress toward enlightenment.
So those aren't true healings?
They are healing, but they do not advance him on the path toward enlightenment. He just uses metapsychiatry as a medical treatment of some kind, or some kind of a treatment.
I see.
Now, there are two aspects of metapsychiatric study. One is the healing of problems as they arise, and the other is moving towards enlightenment.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're interested in healing your problems, then you don't progress any farther in healing your
Then
problems.
you may get stuck and become enamored on the process of healing.
Yeah. Okay. My other question is a follow-up for Stuart's question. It still was not clear to me how that how one soul ended up in good material circumstances and one soul ended up in poor material circumstances. If the material world can also be a reflection of one's consciousness. That the mystery to me is if there is this separateness between the material and the spiritual, how can it be that the material can also be a reflection of one's spiritual consciousness?
A soul cannot be material substantive. You confuse the soul with personhood or personality. A soul is always in splendid circumstances, hid with Christ in God. Whether that individual human person appears to be poor or wealthy or comfortable or insane, the soul is absolutely comfortable, hid with Christ in God. And the human experience belongs to the phenomenal world, and that is not the dwelling place of the soul. So don't confuse it.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Hora.
You're welcome.
Or this is Gail.
Yes, Gail.
When Jay was talking about the different types of students, and one recognizes oneself as something other than, say, a sincere seeker.
Yes.
What was the goal to becoming a sincere seeker? Is it the suffering that continues till one's eyes are open?
Well, the suffering, of course, is a very powerful motivating influence. But it's good to know that there are the different types of students. And you can ask yourself, which am I? Where am I? Am I a sincere speaker? Or am I just one of the other five? You know, and if you know about these things, that helps a great deal. Because many people have no idea that it is possible to study for years and never anywhere.
So becoming aware of where we seem to be
It's important.
helps us to turn our attention to the truth.
Exactly, sure. You see, you can commit yourself to being a sincere student, a sincere teacher of the truth. You can commit yourself. But if you don't know that you are not really committed to it, or that you're pursuing some irrelevant objective, then you can spend years in futility.
So we need to clarify our motive.
Of course, all the time.
Yeah.
Always scrutinize your motive.
What's the motive of the sincere seeker?
A sincere seeker learns for understanding God and his place in God. He is longing for enlightenment. It is more than just being healed of your problem. It is becoming a beneficial presence in the world.
And keep that as our guide. I'd say so that when we do see a feeling of, say, a headache, then we realize that that's not the end in itself, that is just a stepping stone and an opportunity to become more interested in enlightenment.
Very well said. That's the way it is.
Thank you.
Dr. Hora,
Yeah.
To expand on that point just a little bit more, if in the case of, say, a symptom that repeats and an individual who has studied metapsychiatry long enough to be able to see to the healing of a symptom over and over and over again,
Yeah.
that sooner or later the individual can ask themselves the question, what deeper viewpoint or what deeper belief about life does this show me that really needs the healing?
What deeper understanding, not believe, John. Don't try to believe in anything.
No, I meant what, I just put that poorly. I meant what belief that I hold does this point to? I must have the belief in a separate person that can keep getting in the same circumstance over and over and over.
Yes, that's possible, certainly.
And it points to the need of seeing something more about what life is.
And what your motivation is
Yeah. Yes, I see that.
for the study.
Yeah. And that what it would indicate then, what you said it would indicate was just an interest in using metapsychiatry to make things better, to make a headache go away.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
In the story about Jesus and the lepers, I had always thought of that rather superficially as pointing to the fact that we need to be grateful, but really what it points to is only one was interested in learning more about reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hitchhiker.
Yes. You know, in Sunday school they taught that as pointing to the fact that you have to be grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing to be.
Yeah.
Well, in Sunday school they teach you how to be nice.
That's right. Are there any further questions in Ojai? We have several minutes left.
No.
No? Okay. Thank you.
Somewhere I heard that there is a man in Ojai called Michael. Is he still alive? So I'm kidding. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Michael.
I had, go ahead.
Oh, that's part of the story.
Yes, Bessie.
We're talking about the sincere seeker and the students and all. Is it possible that we're in one of those categories at any given time? I mean, we're not just in one all the time, are we?
Well, you could commute from one to another if you are flexible enough.
Well, is there a time when we are a sincere seeker, and then another time when we're just a hitchhiker and so on?
It's conceivable.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Hora, I had one more point I'd like clarified a little bit. In the case of the questions that have come up about rich circumstances and poor circumstances, you made the comment that the soul is always in splendid circumstances.
Yes.
Then we could see that the pictures of life as either rich or poor really obscure the truth of the splendid circumstances.
That's right.
And that the rich or poor are just pictures of our idea of what good is, our values.
Very good. Right.
Yeah.
That.
This is the last chance, Ojai.
Oh, okay. Gail, is there an underlying motive behind all the aspects of the student, the invalid aspects, or would they be different depending on the aspect? In other words, is it all self-confirmatory?
Well, yes, you could say that it is all self-confirmatory. The sincere student is God confirmatory. And that's a radical difference.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you see, the pollution is no part of the ocean, and the ocean cannot really be polluted. The pollution is just polluting itself and destroying itself.
Yeah.
But it never destroys the ocean.
Never destroys the ocean.
All right. If there are no further questions, then thank you very much, Dr. Hora. It's been very clarifying.
You're welcome. Goodbye, everyone. Have a
Bye.
nice summer.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.